Good morning, everybody. Boker Tov, Boker Tov. We're very excited to be here with you today. I'm here with a very good friend of ours, Hanoch Piven. And if his
Hi.
name not hello, Boker Tov or Erev Tov for you.
Awesome.
Well, if Hanoch's name is not familiar to you, his work definitely is. His I would call them unique portraits that tell very complex stories. You've seen them in Time magazine, in Newsweek, and Rolling Stone. When I was flying on American Airlines, I'd see it every month, a new portrait from Hanoch. And
United.
United, sorry, yes, United. It's been so long. It's been so long since we've been flying.
Right.
So let's just jump right in. We're having a beautiful conversation with Hanoch, and then we'll share some of his works. And most exciting of all, we have a very unique and special experience we've created just for today. So good morning.
Hi, everybody. Chag Sameach. Shabbat Shalom. No, it's not Shabbat. Sunday. I don't know what day it is anymore. So, Dan, if it's okay with you, I feel like I'm a visual artist, and I feel like I need to have visuals in order to talk. So, if it's okay with you, I will share my screen. Let's see. I was asked to optimize that. So, do you see my screen, Dan?
Yes, I love it.
Okay, so I thought I'll just run, just to get warmed up, I'll run people through some of my work, so that, a little bit of Israel reality through my eyes, at least, comes to the screen. This is an Herzl that I did long time ago, imagining how would Herzl, the Austrian European, Western European Jew, suddenly feel in Israel with all the hot food and the charcoal ala esh, and falafel and pita, of course, if you were to live in an actual Israel. And this is Golda Meir from my Mima Asuim Rashei Memshala, What Are Prime Ministers Made Of book. So I've drawn many prime ministers. Here's Rabin.
No, I don't think, at least on my screen, and I'm looking at the live feed.
Oh,
we're still on
not,
the main.
Okay, so apologizes. A couple of technical.
Okay, we're just two people talking from our living rooms. That's good.
Exactly. So I don't know, for whatever reason, Zoom sometimes doesn't let the slides go. You'll tell me now. Did it move? Did it move to Herzl?
It's just us. I think you have to reshare your screen.
Oh, right. You're right. You're totally right about that. Okay, we'll get there. We will get there. I center. Share. Please start your audio sharing application. Oh, it wants again sorry, it wants, for whatever reason, the password again.
Little technical difficulties here.
Yeah.
Well, while you're figuring that out, I am enjoying seeing the piece of artwork in the back. It was great to have you as part of our Icon biennial event in 2018, and looking forward to more in-person experiences. But now we can dive in here. Let's see what we got.
Okay, let's see. Let me try one more time to share. I'm trying to share. Okay, I don't know why it's starting. Am I sharing?
Yes.
Good. And one more now, did the slide move to Herzl?
Yes.
Terrific. Okay. Great. So quickly, just again, running you up through this. Herzl was imagining how the Western European Jewish leader would suddenly feel meeting all the spicy Middle Eastern food. And this is the cover of from What Are Prime Ministers Made Of, Mima Asuim Rashei Memshala. In general, I think my prominence in Israel, in the Israeli media, came when I started to work in the 90s in Haaretz. This is a very old Bibi portrait from the first election that he ran in 1996. And of course, there is humor and satire in my work. Here is Bibi again as the nose drill of his wife, Sarah Netanyahu. Aviv Geffen, and the 90s where Shas came to prominence in Israel, Aryeh Deri, and this is the Ashkenazi side of Israel with Tommy Lapid. Tzachi Hanegbi was the minister back then. A classic Golda, I believe you guys have it on the I Center, right? The poster, this poster.
Yeah.
And this is a very special piece to me. Is I feel the only piece in which I didn't use colors is, of course, Ron Arad, made with burnt matches. Ron Arad, the Israeli navigator that has been missing in action in Lebanon. So yeah, I stop now. Just if you want to start talking, I just gave a quick run of my work.
Yeah. Well, I love too how each of those we talked about is you have these everyday objects to create these portraits, and each object in there, everyday object tells a different part of the story, and from something light to something very very heavy, like Ron Arad, or what we did for Ilan Ramon.
Exactly, and I feel and the sort of the angle in which we thought of putting this activity together was really that we have been enclosed in our home for so long, and looking at the same walls, looking at the same people, looking at ourselves getting fatter, and in a way, art is a vehicle to teach us to see, to observe. And the idea behind the project today, which we will present in a couple of minutes, is to use our ability to see, to discover something new in the objects around us, in our home, and through the objects to tell our story, to tell what our home is made of, to tell what we are made of. And again, in a time in which we are passive, we don't really have much control over what's happening outside. A person that is making art does have control. We are omnipotent on our working area. And I feel that this is what I wanted to express through the work that we are going to be doing today, that we do have control over what we make. And a person that is creating is an optimistic person. And in a way, this is the way I have been handling this situation, by creating.
You're currently in Barcelona, right?
I'm currently in Barcelona. I'm moving constantly between Israel and Barcelona, where my wife is, where my house, where my apartment is. My studio is in Israel, in Jaffa. So the Corona actually found me spending 1 week in Barcelona, from which I never came back. Yeah. And I feel this is a good time actually to talk about. You guys asked me before we got here a bit about my relationship with Israel. And is it okay if I talk a little bit about it?
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to ask about, your relationship with Israel, and to hear more about this home of yours.
Right, and I feel, I wasn't born in Israel. I was born in Uruguay, and we made Aliyah when I was 11. And so I grew up in Israel. I went to high school, and then I went to the army, and I spent 5 years in the army. I was an officer in the intelligence, and when I got out of the army, I wasn't accepted to Bezalel, to art school in Israel. So I actually moved to New York, and I spent 10 years in New York City studying at the School of Visual Arts. And in the 90s, I went back to live in Israel after I already established myself as an illustrator. And ever since, I've been in and out of Israel, which has been in some way my constant situation in life. I have a weird in and out, constant in and out of Israel. And what I have found out is that since the 90s, going back from New York to Israel, the energy of Israel has really brought me to develop my work into other areas, into lots of teaching and working with art therapists and with organizational consultants and with educators. I have a hard time moving away from Israel because there is something in the energy there that really nutrifies,
Nourishes?
nourishes. Yes, sorry, nourishes my work, and so I feel like I cannot spend too much time away from Israel. But when I'm in Israel for a long time, I feel like I also need to get away. So it's kind of a constant, going in and out
Yes.
of Israel.
Yes, and I'm loving this portrait of you that we're looking at now, all the different symbols and objects that make it up who you are in this environment.
Right, it's who I am, and also a bit of my relationship with Israel. That I'm always afraid of those sabras there. But on the other hand, the sabras have made my work flourish. The place really where my work got, even though you were mentioning that I'm published in United Magazine, United Airlines Magazine, and I've done lots of work in America, in Time, Newsweek, Rolling Stone, all the big newspapers. It is in Israel that Haaretz, the big newspaper, gave me my own column. It is in Israel that the Ministry of Education invited me to work with the kids and teachers and all throughout the country. It is in Israel that my books were first published, and I got a TV program. So in some way, the place that really has adopted my work so deeply has been Israel.
Yes, lovely. And so this is probably the most time you've been spending at your home in Barcelona, at least in a concentrated.
Yeah, my wife has a hard time with that.
I think we're all,
Yeah.
it's a universal thing right now to have this much.
This is a normal thing. So how about if it's okay with you, how about we talk a little bit about this project? Because I really would like people to start working. People are there with their kids, and I feel it's time for them to start working.
Yes, and there are two things on that. Is if anybody has any questions, we will do our best to get to them in the next 10 minutes. You can add them on the Facebook chat. We'll be monitoring that. And that's actually, I agree with you. That's where I was going with. I'm curious, what home means to you, and you have different definitions of home. You have Israel, you have your home that you're, and so I'd love to hear.
I mean, for me, I feel, as I said, I lived in many different countries. My wife is not from Israel. My kids, part of the time, they grew up in Israel, part of the time they didn't. Home is a very flexible situation for me. And I think I feel home where I'm able to manage. And I find that I can manage in many places. But let's talk about the project. And the idea really is that the people at home, and I hope many families are watching us today, kids and adults. So the idea is that you will be able to create out of objects your family portrait, your home portrait. And at the website of the Eye Center, which I'm sure Dan will take you there, you will see two hands-on videos. We call them Act 1 and Act 2. You don't necessarily need to watch the previous ones if you are here watching us, because you already got to see my work, you got to meet me. So the hands-on project is basically activity, exercise. It's a small exercise. It's basically not to create anything yet. but to find two objects that say something about you or about your house. The first one is something that represents a strength, a value of yours, of each one in the family, or of course, if you are by yourself, of yourself. So the kids can find an object that represents something they're good at, something that they're proud of themselves. The same with the parents. And then the second object is something in your home or in your family that inspires you. Again, something that that makes you stronger, that you're proud of. So it's only choosing two objects and then share them with your family. You can talk within the community. Maybe you are in Zoom meetings with other people, so you can share them with your community. So this is what we call a warm-up. This is Act 1 is a warm-up. Why is it a warm-up? Because it sort of inspires you to start talking through the objects. And in the videos, there are examples of, I talk about that, I show examples, so you can watch also the videos to get more of a clear idea. Act 2, the hands-on, the second hands-on exercise is really to then create a portrait of your home. Now, when I say a portrait, I don't mean necessarily that it needs to be pictures of all of you. It may be, I mean, family, I mean, portraits, figurative creations of each one of the heads of the family. It can be, but it doesn't have to. It can also be the bodies of all of you, but it can also be some kind of this description of the family, of the house, of the garden, of what's around the family. It can be something that you crave, the vacation you want to go to. It can be just one image that represents all of you. The idea is that somehow you will tell your story through the objects. The objects are your words. And and not every object needs to mean something. And you don't even have to create something that is really figurative. You can go to metaphors. I think this family describe themselves as a river. And some families choose to describe their pets. So that is also a possibility. Again, I'm going to stop now the sharing. I feel like was I sharing?
Yeah, no, it was off. It was just you and I
Oh,
talking.
really? Oh my God. Oh my God. I missed it. I was trying to share. Okay. What
Do
can we do?
you wanna put something up there?
Well, I was gonna share my idea was to share, but I'm sorry.
That's fine. And we'll also we'll as soon as we're done with our little chat here, we'll move on to
Right,
videos
right.
and share the website.
So I'll just now you see my screen shared, right?
Yes.
A strength of your slides are moving.
Correct.
Okay, my apologies. I was, you know, that Zoom, I was sure we were sharing. Anyway, so as I said, first two objects, something that, object number one is something that inspires you. And I'm sorry, object number one, a strength of yours. Object number two, something in your family that inspires you. And then you share it with your family. And then you go to Act 2. What is your home made of? You create a portrait. And at the end, I'm sure Dan will tell you, you can send them to piven@artcenter.org. And the examples I was talking about, here they are. So you see there are different ways of depicting a family or the home. And again, those are the pictures that should have gone with the descriptions I was making before.
That's good. We got to process what you were saying, and now we get to see it in the gallery.
Exactly. All right. So now I stop sharing again.
Perfect.
Any questions?
You know, one of the things that we had come in was from Binny in our audience here, talking about she really loves the idea that family is home, and really putting these together. And just to piggyback on that, one of the things I've already, I had a little sneak peek with this, but I actually picked out some of my objects as well, and discussed it with our 10-year-old. And it's interesting, not just doing this as a family, but the insight that it offers. Like, what I'm seeing things through her eyes in a way that it opened up a conversation that isn't always available, isn't always accessible. So what her comfort in your home, and
would you like to share the objects, any of the objects?
Sure, I will. So
Yeah.
the first object that I chose that you described as a strength or value, something that gives me comfort, is I chose this. It's a little piece of board game, Mind Magic, because for me, I see myself as one that really a young at heart, enjoy gamifying as much as I can, and sort of just having fun. But also there's a strategy, right? You have to think. You can't just kind of do things. You have to have a introspective aspect to it. And the thing that that inspires me, that comforts me in my home, I chose this Lego here. Can you see it okay? My screen
Yeah,
went.
somehow we see the back of your screen. There, put it in, there it is.
Yeah. You know, it's a Lego. It's a Lego.
Yeah,
Here.
it's a Lego. We saw, and it's green. And
it's green. It's green. Yeah. See, you know, green screen. If you saw, you know, what it's really like in quarantine life here, it would be, your studio is much nicer.
I was very impressed with your background. Now I realize it's it's fake.
Fake. But the reason I chose this Lego piece is even the act of building together, similar to this project, it brings us together. And the biggest thing is based on the shape. Even if you can't see the green, it makes you smile. And for me, a smile really, that brings a lot of comfort to me.
Right. And I'm glad you said that, because I mean, it's sort of obvious, but this is about the process, and I guess we should say it. Many times when we create art, since the age of 6 or 7 or 8, we feel like we're not good at art. Other people can do it, but we cannot do it. We kind of feel like there's some people that have the gift of God, that they can create and do beautiful things. So each time that we start creating art, we feel like, oh, it's not going to come out well. But when we create a collage in this type of work, and if you add the playfulness of it all, it's from the beginning kind of a wacky, whimsical way of playing with the objects. It is a game that, and we are smiling. So that is what really prevents us from feeling bad. If it's not, there is no ideal of what it should look like. There is no right and there is no wrong. And we all know it in some way once we start playing with the objects. So that really allows us to be forgiving, and not to concentrate on the final project, but to concentrate on the process.
Yes.
The idea is that art is a form of communication, and we are communicating with each other, but we are also communicating internally.
Yes. Thank you. I wish we had twice as much time. I know that you are very in demand today, and that you have other...
but also I want people to work, and I feel like if we are talking constantly, what I invite, I know that I need to go in a couple of minutes. I know that I told you that I need to go before, so you are probably getting a little bit like, oh, I need to get you out of here, but it's okay. I can.
Okay.
What I want to encourage people is to send through the chat some choices, the way you shared, which I thought was beautiful. I wish people would be sharing with each other, so people can say, you know, we are in Minneapolis and we chose this because it represents our home in some way. And we are in Florida and we chose that. So it will create sort of a communication through the objects, and really emphasize how art is a form of communication, of fun communication.
I love that. I love that. And if people do need more time, or if they're just joining us, everything that we've been discussing is available at theicenter.org/Piven, and we'll put that up in a bit. We're going to create this gallery, and actually piggybacking on what you said, we'll make sure we add a little bit more instruction. But if you're sharing your artwork with us, we'd love to hear why you chose that.
Right. And just to run down the videos that we created at the iCenter Piven, you will find a little teaser, which was on this Facebook page before. You will find what do you need to prepare for the workshop in case you don't have, it's the objects, the glue, the board. You will need, there is another video called Why Art, which is kind of what we're being talking here. You don't need to watch this right now. And then there are the two videos, which are Handson 1 and Handson 2, which is sort of, again, what we have been talking here.
Yeah. And so we can show those as people are getting started. And again, people can revisit this page if they need refreshers of what the prompts are, what type of objects to choose. But I'm very excited to see what people are going to be creating here.
Yeah, okay, me too. So I'll come later on to visit again and see what's going on. Visit the page, see what has added. Any other question or?
No, that's it. I'm very mindful of your time. I don't want to make you late for anything.
All
but
right.
No, this is, as like I said, we could do it twice as long. I'd love to continue a chat maybe another time, but thank you for this. I'm monitoring the chat, and as things come in, we'll add them too.
Okay, Dan, thank you so much. Chag Sameach, everyone. And I will come back to check out the pictures.
Wonderful.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. And we'll keep this going here. Again, theicenter.org/Piven. You can find all of the information that Hanoch was sharing with us here. And I'll just scroll down here. The what home is made of is more of the introduction, which we've been discussing here. Why art talks about the value in the storytelling with these everyday objects. And what I love to do now is dive into what do we need, and hopefully with the rest of this hour, you can get started about this and make this a real fun family activity that you can visit in the future as well. You know, every time that we do an activity like this, it looks different. You know, it depends on when the creation is starting, right? And certainly in this climate with us inside with our family, it might manifest in one way, and in a couple months, it may be another way. So this is something you could do over and over. And so as you're going through your home and you're finding these everyday objects, here's a little guidance from our friend Hanoch.
What do you need to prepare in order to participate in what home is made of? As we will be drawing with objects, the first thing you will need to do is to collect objects in your home. Everyday objects that you might not need anymore. The act of searching, the act of collecting is already an optimistic, creative act because we are already seeing our home in a new and fresh way. So you can really bring anything. It could be old toys, it could be old CDs and phones or broken glass frames. It could be string, and those are great for mouse, like the hair rubber bands. Pretty much anything. Look, this is a wonderful character that is there. So you can see the potential exists anywhere and everywhere. You will need some kind of cardboard, which can be taken from any old box, or it can be foam core. Try it to be at least, I would say, 14 by 17, 14 by 21, 11 by 17 inches at least. And if you have some color paper, it could be great to create backgrounds and shapes. If you can get a hot glue gun, this is the perfect tool to glue objects. But if you can't, don't worry, because any type of white glue, Elmer's glue, Yoo-hoo will work as well. And I guess this is pretty much all you need. And start collecting objects, because the more we have objects around, the more potential we will have to express something about our homes.
So as you are collecting your pieces here, my screen is gone. I hope you can still see me. Perhaps it's technical difficulties. I'll keep going, and I'll man the live stream. We're about 20 seconds behind from live. Oh, my screen, that's why. There we go. Terrific. All right. So, because we're here in quarantine and even going out to get supplies is a little difficult, we're getting creative in our house here. As I mentioned, with one of my objects being a game, we're actually going to use an old Candyland. We have multiple versions of Candyland, and we are definitely playing them here. And so we're going to use this very large board as a backdrop with colored paper and whatnot. Of course, we have a DIY slime. I'm sure that many of your homes with kids has this lovely invention of slime that I wish I invented. And let's go on to number 2 here as we continue with Hanoch. As soon as we fix this. There we go.
Personally, I think baking sourdough.
We don't need to worry about baking sourdough right now. Although if you're baking, put a picture in the chat. Let's see that here. So now that we have the objects there, we're going to go to, let's see what to create here. And actually, sorry, before that, so we've also added on the website, again, theicenter.org/Piven will get you right here. And we've put in words here what it is you need. Again, what Hanoch had described about the different objects. And let's take a look. Hands on.
This is an exercise in which you don't need to create anything yet, but just go to your set of objects, to your buffet, and select 2 objects. Object number 1 represents a strength of yours, a quality, a value, something that you are proud of. It might be an object that has that quality and you associate it with your quality, or it might be an object that you don't even know why it feels right. Allow yourself to think about it or to feel that an object is the appropriate one. Object number 2 represents something in your home or family that inspires you, something that gives you comfort, something that makes you feel safer in the family or in the home. Each one of you in the family can suggest also objects for other people. And once you are done selecting, you can gather together and share why you chose those objects.
And we're going to keep it going here as soon as we get out of this screen.
Hey, my name is Alvin, and I love...
Not now. And Act 2, my favorite part, and this is where we're gonna leave it with you here, and you can jump in. We'll come back after this short video.
Okay, now we are ready to create, and what I would like you to do as a family is an image using objects that describes what your home is made of. It can be really a description of the people in the family, so you can think about creating portraits. You can just make faces or make the whole body. You can maybe describe the physical home, but you can also describe the metaphorical idea of home. What gives you comfort, what makes you feel safe, what is family and what is home. Really, there are no rules. Any direction that you feel describes something about your home is valid. You can start with the objects that you chose in the previous exercise, but you can bring many other objects. If you do make portraits, don't think that the portraits need to look like you. It's not about creating a likeness, it's about telling a story of the family. Don't be quick to decide what the direction is. Allow yourself to try many things. Work on a large board. Make sure that it's sturdy. As I said, it can be foam core or any simple board from a card box. You can also use color paper. So with color paper, you can cut backgrounds, you can cut shapes. Don't rush the process. Give yourself time to try many different directions. And once you are done, you can glue using a hot glue gun. But if you don't have a glue gun, don't worry about it. You can use any kind of liquid glue. And you can even use blue tack in order to fix the objects to the board. You might want to use an object that is very dear to you and you wouldn't want to glue it, so don't worry about it, just don't glue it. Once you are done, take a picture with your phone or with a camera, but make sure to take it just from above so there are no diagonal angles, and follow the instructions below in order to make sure that we at the Eye Center get your image and we can have a gallery of all your images.
With that instruction, again, the eyecenter.org/Piven, you can go ahead and start working and creating, but don't forget to share it with us. The instructions are on that screen on the website. You can easily email that to us or go ahead and share it on Instagram or Facebook, tagging Israel Ed and with the hashtag Israel Ed and the hashtag Connect with Israel 2020. And I hope you've had as much fun as I have here this morning and that you'll continue to. Don't go far because we have so much more in this hour, in the hours to come. We have cooking with a celebrity chef, as well as some terrific music artists with him in conversation. We have Mayumina Kids coming up. It's like an Israeli version of Stomp. It's really fun. So it's a lot of activities to do with the family. And don't forget, to keep checking back in with the Eye Center and all of the other partners, because we're here to create as much fun and connect with Israel deeper. So I'm going to pass it over to Or and his team, who's doing a terrific job. Know how many people are behind the scenes putting this together so that you could enjoy this here today. So thank them, and I thank you for joining us.